Have you ever had a Christmas Eve so twisted, so completely upside down, that it made you question whether family even means anything at all? Have you ever watched someone you love, your own child, get treated like they don't belong, right in front of you, by the very people who are supposed to protect them? My name is Lena Carter, I'm 32 years old, and I'm a middle school art teacher, and what happened to me last Christmas Eve still feels like a bruise I can't stop poking. And trust me, you're not ready for where this goes. Because by the end of that night, the people who raised me, the ones who always bragged about tradition and family unity, would be begging me for forgiveness while pretending they hadn't just tried to humiliate my daughter. But let me start at the beginning. It was snowing hard. Those big, soft flakes that make you feel like the whole world got quiet just for Christmas. My daughter Ivy was beside me in the car, swinging her feet and humming along to the radio, excited the way only an 11-year-old can be. My family's Christmas Eve dinner was the event every single year. Matching pajamas, gingerbread decorating, the big gift exchange. It was supposed to be magical. But this year, something felt off the second I pulled into my mother's driveway. Every window glowed warm yellow except one, the front room. Lights out, curtains closed. Like the house was smiling everywhere except one corner. I tried to shake it off. Holidays make me emotional. That's nothing new. We stepped inside and were hit with the smell of cinnamon cider, pine needles, and a wave of voices. Everyone seemed cheerfully chaotic. Cousins running around, aunts carrying casseroles, my uncle already yelling at the football game. My mother stood in the center of it all in her red silk blouse, greeting everyone like the hostess of some fancy Christmas TV special. She hugged me, tight but cold, and then leaned back with that smile she uses when she's pretending. "Lena, darling, you made it." Then she glanced at Ivy. For half a second, something flickered across her face. Something sharp. Something I didn't understand yet. But I would soon. Before I go deeper. Hold on, before we get into the real stuff, I want to know, what are you doing at this exact moment while hearing my voice? I love seeing your answers down below in the comments. Okay, back to the chaos. Dinner went fine. Forced laughter. Obligatory compliments. The usual. But the real event was always after. The annual Christmas Eve surprise. Every year, my mom bought something special for all the grandkids. Last year, matching bikes. The year before, a weekend cabin trip. She loved being the hero. Loved the applause. This year, she brought everyone into the living room and stood by the tree with a stack of envelopes wrapped in shiny silver bows. "All right, everyone," she said, tapping her champagne glass. "This year's surprise is extra special." The kids crowded around, Ivy right in the middle, smiling so wide I swear her cheeks were trembling. One by one, my mom handed out the envelopes. My nieces, my nephews, the neighbors' kids who'd shown up out of nowhere, everyone got one. She was glowing, absolutely drinking up the praise. Until she got to Ivy. My daughter stepped forward, hands clasped, bouncing just a little. And then, my mother pulled the last envelope, just slightly out of reach. Her smile tightened. "Oh, Ivy, sweetheart, I don't have one for you this year." The room froze. Adults, kids, even the dog stopped walking. My ears filled with static. My mom kept going, cheerful voice dripping like syrup. "This year's trip is a family heritage retreat. Only full-blood Carter grandkids are eligible. I'm sure you understand." Ivy blinked. Once. Twice. Her lip trembled. And I swear, I felt something inside me snap clean in half. She whispered, "Am I not your family?" Nobody breathed. My mother said nothing. Ivy's little face went pale. Then she stepped back, swallowed, and walked toward the hallway without a word. That was the moment I realized. We weren't just dealing with favoritism, or snobbiness, or one bad mood. This was a line my own mother had drawn in permanent marker. and she expected me to stand on her side of it. I didn't. But the way I fought back, the way this night spiraled, let's just say, the Carters would remember this Christmas Eve for the rest of their lives. I didn't follow Ivy right away, not because I didn't want to, but because if I moved even an inch in that moment, I was pretty sure I'd say something that would blow Christmas Eve off the map. The room felt like it was shrinking. Too many eyes, too much fake holiday cheer trapped in the air like glitter you can't clean up. My mom kept talking, pretending nothing happened, handing out heritage trip packets, like some twisted Santa Claus with a superiority complex. My hands were shaking so badly I had to clasp them together. Finally, I turned and walked down the hallway to find Ivy. The door to the guest room, the one my mom called the sweet little princess suite every year, was cracked open. I pushed it gently, and there she was, sitting on the edge of the bed, hands folded tight in her lap. Her eyes were glossy, but she wasn't crying. That somehow made it worse. "Baby," I whispered, sitting beside her. "Talk to me." She kept staring at the wall as if the wallpaper might give her answers I couldn't. "It's okay, Mom," she said softly. "I know I'm different." My heart dropped straight to my stomach. "Different how?" I asked, trying hard to keep my voice steady. She shrugged one shoulder. "Grandma always says the Carters have their legacy. And I'm not all Carter. So maybe I don't count." "Count," I repeated, almost choking. "Ivy, you're my whole world. You don't just count. You matter more than any stupid legacy could ever matter." She looked at me for the first time since the living room, her green eyes huge and shiny. "Then why doesn't she like me?" Oh God. That question. That hit like a freight train. I pulled her in, holding her tight against my chest. "She does like you," I lied, because the truth was too ugly for a kid on Christmas Eve. "She's just broken. And broken people hurt others because they don't know how to fix themselves." She nodded slowly, but I could tell it didn't land. "Not really." After a minute, she whispered, "Can we go home?" And right then, yeah. I wanted to grab her coat, stomp out the front door, and let the snow swallow that whole house behind us. But I also knew something else. If I left quietly, my mother would think she'd won. She'd think humiliating my daughter was acceptable. She'd keep doing it. I wasn't allowing that. Not tonight. Not ever again. I brushed Ivy's hair behind her ear. "Give me 5 minutes," I said, standing up. "I'm going to handle this." "Mom, don't fight," she said softly. I smiled, but not the warm kind. "I won't fight, baby. But I'm also not rolling over." When I stepped back into the hallway, the holiday noise swelled again. Laughter, music, clinking glasses, the forced joy that suddenly sounded so damn fake it made my teeth ache. My cousin Kayla intercepted me near the kitchen. "Hey, she lowered her voice. "That thing with Ivy, that wasn't cool." "No," I said flatly. "It wasn't." "She's just being your mom," Kayla tried. "You know how she gets." I stopped walking. That's exactly the problem. Kayla swallowed, stepped aside. I walked into the living room just as my mom finished explaining the retreat itinerary. Everyone looked up at me instantly. Maybe they felt the shift in the air. Maybe they saw the look on my face. My mom raised her perfect eyebrows. "Everything all right, Lena?" I forced a smile that felt like it was made of razor blades. "No, actually, we need to talk." Before she could respond, my brother jumped in. "Hey, maybe don't start something right now. It's Christmas Eve." "Then maybe our mother shouldn't start something by excluding my kid," I snapped. The room froze again. My mother set her champagne flute down slowly. "Lena, we discussed this. The retreat is for Carters only." "No," I said, stepping closer. "You decided that." And you decided to embarrass an 11-year-old girl to make a point about bloodlines like this is some medieval kingdom. Her lips tightened. Oh, don't be dramatic. Dramatic. I laughed once, sharp. You basically told my daughter she wasn't real family. On Christmas Eve. In front of a room of people. How is that not dramatic? Someone behind me muttered, "She's got a point." My mom ignored it, her voice low and cold. You chose to have a child with a man outside this family. I will not pretend that didn't change things. There it was. The truth she'd always tiptoed around. Spoken out loud. Something in me snapped in a clean, perfect way. I leaned in just enough so only she could hear me. You're about to regret saying that. Her smile faltered. And right then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out and froze. A text. A picture. From Ivy. The photo was of her suitcase, already zipped. The message said, "Please hurry. I don't want to be here anymore." And that's when I knew. This night wasn't anywhere close to being over. In fact, the real storm was about to hit. I stared at Ivy's text like it was a flare shot into a dark sky. My little girl, on Christmas Eve, zipping her suitcase because the people who were supposed to love her made her feel unwanted. Yeah. No. Absolutely not. I slipped my phone back into my pocket and turned to my mother. "I'm going upstairs," I said quietly. "Don't follow me." Her nostrils flared just enough to show I'd hit a nerve, but she didn't say a word. Maybe she didn't think I had the guts to do anything more. She seriously underestimated me. The staircase creaked under my feet as I climbed. Each step felt heavier, like I was wading through cement. I pushed open the door to the princess guest room. And there she was. Ivy stood by the window, hugging her backpack to her chest. Her suitcase sat on the floor next to her boots. Her chin was trembling, even though she was trying so hard to look brave. She whispered, "Mom, can we just go?" I knelt down in front of her and took her hands. They were ice cold. "We're leaving," I said. "But not like we're running away. Not like they get to win. We're walking out with our heads high. Together." Her shoulders relaxed a little, but she still glanced toward the door like she expected someone to barge in and tell her she wasn't allowed. I kissed her forehead. "No one touches you again tonight. Got it?" She nodded. I grabbed her suitcase and backpack, but before we stepped out, she tugged my sleeve. "Mom, did I do something wrong?" My heart legit cracked. For the millionth time that night, I swallowed down the anger so she wouldn't have to see all of it. "No, baby," I said softly. "You didn't do anything wrong. They did." We walked out together, hand in hand. The moment we hit the landing, voices hushed below. The entire family turned like we were characters in a movie, making a dramatic entrance they didn't see coming. My mom lifted her chin. "Oh, for heaven's sake, Lena. You're not actually leaving." "Watch me," I said. My uncle cleared his throat. "Maybe y'all should talk this out. It's Christmas." I held up a hand. "No. I'm not debating whether my kid deserves to be treated like family. That's not a discussion. That's basic human decency." A couple cousins murmured agreement. My grandmother on my dad's side even crossed her arms like she was ready to throw hands. But my mom, she doubled down. "Lena, stop being dramatic. You're ruining the evening." I laughed. One quick, humorless sound. "You already ruined it the moment you told my daughter she wasn't a real Carter." Her eyes flashed. I said no such. "She has a phone," I snapped. "And ears. And feelings. And you hurt every single one of them." My brother stepped forward. "Okay, but Mom meant the retreat was for traditions." "Traditions," I barked. "We're gatekeeping Christmas now? That's what we're doing?" That's wild. A few people looked away, uncomfortable. I kept going. You know what's funny? I said, looking directly at my mother. Every year, you brag about our family being this perfect picture. But the second someone doesn't fit your mold, you toss them aside like yesterday's wrapping paper. Her jaw clenched so hard I saw the muscles twitch. Lena, she said, voice low and sharp, you are making a fool of yourself. No, I said, stepping closer. I'm protecting my kid, something you should have done instead of humiliating her in front of everyone. You could have heard a snowflake land in that room. Ivy squeezed my hand, and I squeezed back. I grabbed our coats from the wall, zipped hers up, and turned toward the door. Come on, baby, I said softly. We're going home. My mother took one step forward like she was going to stop us. But I held up my palm. Don't, I said. You lost the privilege of being near her the moment you treated her like she didn't belong. Her face went pale. Not mad. Wounded. But I didn't care. Not anymore. We walked out to the porch where snow swirled like glitter shaken from the sky. The cold hit my cheeks, but it felt cleaner than the air inside that house. As I buckled Ivy into the car, she whispered, Mom, are we in trouble? I brushed her hair back. No, sweetheart. We're just done letting people walk all over us. I shut her door and got into the driver's seat. But before I could start the engine, there was a loud crash behind us. Like glass shattering. Like something or someone losing control. I froze. Because the sound had come from inside my mother's house. And the next thing I saw through the snowy rear window? A figure storming toward us. Fast. I didn't even have the keys in the ignition when that figure burst through the front door like a snowstorm with legs. The porch light flicked on, illuminating the swirling flakes, and my mother marching toward the car, hair wild, eyes blazing, clutching something in her hand. For half a second, I thought she had a weapon. Turned out it was worse. It was Ivy's envelope, the silver one with the bow, the same kind she handed to every other grandkid. My stomach dropped. She was shaking, chest heaving, breath puffing in angry clouds. Lena, she shouted, stomping through the snow in her heels like she didn't feel the cold. You come back inside this house right now. I cracked my window 2 inches. No, back up. We're done. She slapped the side of the car with her free hand. You are not leaving over something so small. Small. I barked. You humiliated a child. Her lip curled, the way it did when she thought I was being too sensitive as a kid. I told you, I had no envelope left for her. It was a simple mix-up. If you'd stop being dramatic for once. Behind her, the front door opened, silhouettes gathering on the porch to watch. Some looked embarrassed, others frozen, unsure whose side to take. Typical. My mom thrust the silver envelope at me through the cracked window. Here. Ivy can have one. Happy. No, I said, voice flat as ice. She doesn't want your pity. And neither do I. Her nostrils flared. Stop acting like you're the victim. That did it. I pushed open my door, stepped out into the snow, and shut it behind me. You wanna talk? I said. Fine. Let's talk. My breath came out in a fog. Her face was inches from mine. You've had it out for that child since the moment she was born, I said. Because she reminds you that my life didn't follow the roadmap you designed for me. That is not true, she snapped. Yes, it is. You never said it out loud, but you treated her like an asterisk. A footnote. Something you had to tolerate instead of someone you should cherish. Her grip tightened around the silver envelope. Do you know how ungrateful you sound? She hissed. I made this family what it is. I built our traditions. I made Christmas special. And now, because you can't handle one minor slip-up, I laughed. Bitter. Loud. My daughter begged me to take her home. On Christmas Eve. Something that never should have happened. And you call that a slip-up? Lady, that's a whole character flaw. The porch gasped like a choir. My mom's jaw twitched. You're being ridiculous. Then answer this, I said, leaning closer. Why was there no envelope for Ivy? If it was a mix-up, why'd you have enough for the neighbor's kids who aren't even related to us? That landed. Hard. She blinked, struggling for words. Behind us, the snow fell quieter, heavier. The house lights made every flake glow like tiny spotlights catching every lie she tried and failed to hide. Finally, she said, I didn't think she'd care. My heart stuttered. You didn't think an 11-year-old would care, I repeated. About being excluded. On Christmas Eve. She rolled her eyes. Kids bounce back. I stepped away from her, disgust twisting in my stomach. You don't get it, I said quietly. You've never gotten it. You didn't get it when I was a kid, and you sure as hell don't get it now. Her voice went dangerously soft. Lena, if you drive away right now, you are tearing this family apart. No, I said. You already did that. I got back into the car and locked the doors. Ivy grabbed my hand instantly. Mom, she whispered. What's happening? We're going home, baby, I said, putting the car in reverse. This isn't our circus anymore. My mother rushed forward again, smacking the back windshield. Lena, if you leave, don't come back. I didn't even look at her. Deal. The tires crunched over the snow as we backed out of the driveway. Ivy watched her grandmother get smaller through the window until she was just a red blur against the white. She finally asked, Are we safe? I squeezed her hand. Yeah, I said softly. We're safe now. But as we turned the corner, leaving the glow of that house behind, a notification popped onto my phone screen mounted on the dash. A voicemail. From an unknown number. 32 seconds long. And the preview text said, You made a huge mistake tonight. Yeah. Christmas Eve wasn't done with us yet. The voicemail preview stared at me from the dash like a flashing warning sign on a highway at midnight. You made a huge mistake tonight. My stomach flipped, but I kept driving. Snow swirled in the headlights, giving the world that hazy Christmas Eve glow, beautiful, but creepy when your adrenaline spiking. Ivy glanced over, nibbling her lip. Mom, who's that from? No idea, I said. Probably just more drama. But the truth? My pulse was hammering hard enough to make my fingers tingle. When we finally pulled into our driveway, the house lights were glowing warm and steady, our little two-story sanctuary. Usually it made me feel safe. Tonight, it felt like a bunker. I got Ivy inside, made her cocoa, helped her into her pajamas with the candy cane stripes, and tucked her into bed. She fell asleep fast, exhausted, wiped, emotionally wrung out. Once her door clicked shut, I finally pressed play on the voicemail. A crackle. A breath. Then, Lena, you should have handled things privately. My stomach nodded. Walking out like that, in front of everyone, that was reckless. You embarrassed your mother. You embarrassed the entire family. Not my mom's voice. Not a cousin. Not a man, not a woman. Just this weird, flat tone, almost digitized. There are consequences for choosing ego over loyalty. Then silence. I let the phone drop onto the couch cushion. Okay. Nope. Absolutely not. Someone had followed what happened. Someone who thought they had the right to comment. Someone hiding behind a blocked number. On Christmas Eve, I pushed up from the couch and paced. My mind spun through possibilities. My uncle? One of the extra cousins? Maybe some Carter family loyalist who worshipped my mom like she was royalty. God knows she had a fan club. But the voice. It wasn't familiar. It wasn't normal. I locked the doors, double-checked the windows, turned on the porch camera, and finally sank onto the couch, exhaling hard. I told myself to breathe. Chill. Not everything is a threat. But then, my phone buzzed again. Another notification. This time, a picture. Not of me. Not of Ivy. A photo of my mother's front porch. Taken from outside. In the snow. At night. The timestamp? 3 minutes ago. My entire body went cold. I called my mom instantly. She picked up on the second ring, voice raw from crying or yelling or both. "What do you want?" she snapped. "Mom," I said, my tone sharp. "Is someone outside your house?" "What?" "No." "Why would?" "Go check," I demanded. "Right now." I heard her footsteps, the creak of her old foyer floor, then the deadbolt sliding. The door opened. She inhaled sharply. "Lena, there are footprints. All over the porch." My chest tightened. "Are they fresh?" "Yes." And her voice broke off. "Oh God." "What?" She whispered, horrified. "There's an envelope on the mat." "What kind?" She swallowed. "A silver one, just like the kids' envelopes. But this one has your name on it." I closed my eyes, feeling the world tilt. "Don't touch it," I said. "I'm coming back." "What?" "No, no. You're not welcome." "Mom, shut up for once in your life," I snapped. "This isn't about you. Someone is messing with our family. Someone who was at the house tonight." She fell silent. Not offended. Not angry. Scared. That scared me more than anything. "I'm on my way," I said, grabbing my coat. But then I froze. I turned my head slowly toward the stairs. A sound. Soft. Barely there. A floorboard creaking. Upstairs. Near Ivy's room. My breath lodged in my throat. I set my phone down silently, grabbed the closest heavy object, our iron fireplace poker, and stepped toward the staircase. Each step felt like wading into a nightmare I didn't sign up for. Another creak. Then, a shadow moved across the hallway. I gripped the poker tighter, pulse roaring in my ears. My voice cracked out, low and shaking. "Who's up there?" No answer. Just silence thick enough to choke on. Then a whisper drifted down from the dark. "You shouldn't have left the house, Lena." And whoever said it wasn't Ivy. For a second, I honestly thought my heart stopped. That voice, that whisper, it wasn't Ivy's. It wasn't mine. And it sure as hell wasn't the house settling. Someone was in my home. On Christmas Eve. I tightened my grip on the iron fireplace poker until my hand hurt. The staircase stretched in front of me like a tunnel. Dark, narrow, the kind of dark your eyes don't adjust to. Another creak overhead. My pulse went wild. "Stay calm, Lena," I whispered to myself. "Don't panic. Don't freeze." But my legs felt like they were filled with cement. I forced myself up the stairs, step by step, trying not to breathe too loudly. Halfway up, I heard something, a faint shuffle, like someone dragging their foot. Then a very distinct, very human exhale. I stopped cold. "Listen," I said, loud enough to carry but steady enough not to give away I was shaking. "I already called the cops." Lie. Total lie. But in this moment, I'd lie about anything to protect my kid. Silence. Then that voice again, low, almost amused. "You shouldn't lie in front of your daughter's door." Every hair on my arms stood straight up. I took 2 more steps, my heart slamming out of rhythm. Ivy's nightlight cast a soft glow under her door, a strip of warm yellow across the floor. A shadow crossed over it. Someone was standing right outside her room. I didn't think. I didn't plan. I just moved. I lunged up the last few stairs and rounded the corner, poker raised. But the hallway was empty. No figure. No shadow. No one standing at Ivy's door. Just stillness. And the faint hum of her nightlight. My breath shook as I pressed my back against the wall. Did I imagine it? Was the voice on the stairs echoing weird? Was I spiraling from the voicemail, the photo, the envelope on my mom's porch, everything? I reached slowly for Ivy's door handle. My fingers trembled so badly I almost missed it. I turned it, quietly, and pushed the door open an inch. Ivy lay under her blankets, breathing softly, face relaxed. Safe. Peaceful. I closed the door gently and exhaled, my knees nearly giving out. Okay. She was safe. She was fine. Everything else I could handle as long as she was okay. I backed away from the door, but then my foot hit something. A small envelope. Silver. Identical to the ones from my mother's house. My blood iced over. I crouched slowly, lifting it with the poker, not my hands. The front had my name written in looping cursive, not my mother's handwriting, not anyone from the Carter family. Just one word. Lena. I carried it downstairs like it was a bomb. Set it on the kitchen counter. Grabbed an oven mitt. And opened it. Inside was a single sheet of thick cardstock. No threats. No message. No handwriting at all. Just a printed sentence across the middle. If you want to keep her safe, come back. I stared at it until the letters blurred. Then my vision snapped back into focus. Sharp, angry, burning. Somebody thought they could scare me, control me, manipulate me through my kid. No. Wrong mom. But I wasn't stupid. I also wasn't storming back into that house without answers. I grabbed my phone, hands still shaking, and dialed the only person who ever told the truth in our family without sugarcoating it. My little brother, Ethan. He picked up on the second ring, voice groggy. Lena, it's midnight. What? I need you to listen to me, I whispered. Someone was outside Mom's house. Someone left an envelope with my name. And someone might have been inside my house. Silence. Then a soft curse. Okay. Lock the doors. I'm coming over. No, I said. Stay there. I need you to check something at Mom's place. Look at her porch. Look at the footprints. Call me back in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, he said. Lena, what's going on? Who would? I don't know, I snapped. That's why I need you to move. He inhaled sharply. All right, I got you. Call ended. I locked every door, every window, closed the curtains, left the kitchen lights on. And just as I finally sat down, phone in my hand, waiting for Ethan to call back, my porch camera pinged. Motion detected. 12:41 a.m. I tapped the notification with shaking fingers. The footage loaded. Snow. A dark figure. Standing completely still at the bottom of my steps. Facing my house. Not moving. Not leaving. Just watching. And then, they lifted their hand and waved at the camera. Slow. Deliberate. Like they knew I was watching. For a long, electric second, I couldn't breathe. The figure on my porch camera didn't move. Didn't flinch. Just stood there in the swirling snow like they were posing for a horror movie poster. I leaned closer to the screen, heart ricocheting inside my ribs. The hood. The dark jacket. The posture. No face visible. But the wave? That slow, taunting wave? That was personal. My phone buzzed in my hand, so suddenly I nearly dropped it. Ethan calling back. I answered in a whisper. Tell me you see something. His breathing was loud, fast. Lena, you need to listen to me very carefully. What? What did you find? He swallowed hard. I checked Mom's porch. The footprints? They go around the house. Not just up the steps. Like someone was casing it. My skin prickled. And the envelope? Still there, he said. But there's more. More what? He lowered his voice. Her security camera caught someone leaving it. But the footage glitches right when the person lifts their head. Glitches. I snapped. What does that even mean? It means I can't see their face. At all. It's like static covers it. I closed my eyes, trying to steady my breathing. And there's something else, he added. Mom said she's been getting weird calls all week. Blocked numbers. Heavy breathing. She didn't tell anyone because she thought we'd call her dramatic. Oh my God. Oh, and Lena, he added. Mom is freaking out now. Like, actually scared. She's begging me to stay the night. I rubbed my forehead. She's not behind this. Someone else is playing with us. Yeah, he said. Someone dangerous. Before I could respond, a sharp knock rang out. 3 bangs against my own front door. I jumped so hard my phone bounced onto the couch. The porch camera showed the figure now standing at my doorstep, inches from the door, hands still raised from knocking. Nope, I whispered. Not happening. I grabbed the fireplace poker again and moved toward the door, but then I stopped. No way in hell was I opening it. Instead, I hit the intercom button on my porch camera, my voice shaking with fury. I'm calling the police. Leave. The figure tilted their head. Slowly. Then they turned and walked down my steps without a word. Into the snow. Into the dark. Gone. Just like that. A ghost with footprints. I locked everything, checked on Ivy again, still sleeping, unaware, and collapsed onto the couch as my phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. I'm staying with Mom. You stay with Ivy. We'll figure this out tomorrow. I promise. I stared at the message for a long time. This whole thing felt bigger than a family fight. Bigger than a Christmas meltdown. Someone had been watching us. Following us. Waiting for the moment to insert themselves. And Christmas Eve was their big entrance. But the weirdest part, deep down, I felt like I knew who it was. Not the person, but the type. Someone obsessed with my mom's perfect family image. Someone who worshipped her traditions. Someone who thought I'd ruined everything by walking out. Someone who wanted to punish me for breaking the Carter Code. A fanatic. A family loyalist. A shadow from my mother's orbit. Someone who knew exactly where we'd be, every minute of Christmas Eve. I sat there until the sky started to pin Ken, until the snow finally stopped, until my heartbeat settled into something human again. And when the sun came up, something shifted inside me. I wasn't scared anymore. Nope. I was pissed. And protective. And absolutely done being intimidated. Whoever this person was, they picked the wrong mom to mess with. Because guess what? Families don't break when one person leaves. They break when someone tries to control them. And mine. Yeah. Mine was done being controlled. I checked on Ivy one more time, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "We're safe. I promise." And from that moment on, I made sure of it. Every camera updated. Every lock upgraded. Every cop notified. Every boundary drawn in concrete. No more surprises. No more manipulation. No more fear. Christmas Eve didn't destroy us. It woke us up. If this story hit you anywhere in the heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Silent Revenge Lab. Your support helps more people hear stories that remind them they're not alone, and that protecting your peace is never the wrong choice.